We're addressing it once again. One Georgia school is dealing with the aftermath of a deadly shooting. A 14-year-old opened fire on fellow students and staff at Appalachia High School in Georgia. 4 people are dead, 2 teachers and 2 students also. 9 people are in the hospital. The motive still unclear tonight. Investigators say the suspect was previously investigated back in 2023 for allegedly taking and making online threats to carry out an attack on campus. Apparently, this time he made good on it. Joining us to talk about it, Waller County Constable Herschel Smith, HTX Tactical gun shop owner and gun expert Georgia Brago, and Cody McCubbin, a former board member in Newtown, Connecticut, a site of the Sandy Hook school shooting, another tragedy in American history. Your thoughts about this, Constable?
Sad situation. You know, we see it across the board how young kids now stealing cars, doing all kind of things. It's a lack of parenting. And you know, these kids are raising themselves. Parents are chasing their American dreams, and the kids are home by themselves. They got a lot to think. An idle mind is a devil workshop. That's what's happening.
And Cody, would you agree with that, where the root of the problem lies?
Well, I don't know what's going on with this kid, but I guarantee you this kid was probably one of those loner type kids that were probably bullied or had some kind of issues. I guarantee you this is probably one of those kids that everybody's going to say, oh yeah, if it was any one kid, it was going to be that one. It always ends up being the exact same story every single time. And why we can't seem to like pull together within the community, because the schools know who they are. So why can't something be done? They know who these kids are, so why don't they pull together, actually get around these kids who are having these social issues before they actually do something dangerous, like, because the kid's 14. It's not like some 16, 17 years, like 14 years old. Something was going on.
George, you agree? Obviously, pretty soon we will hear the politicians say, let's get guns under control in this country. Yeah, but when we talk about what Cody said, your thoughts on that?
I agree. There's definitely something wrong with kids these days, unfortunately. You know, it's not like back then where, you know, just society's just different. It is. It's unfortunate, you know, and we live in an evil world. This is just pure evil that's happening, whether you're 14, 12, or you're a full-grown man. It's just pure evil in general. You know, of course, the first thing that comes out of Sleepy Joe's mouth is, you know, ban assault weapons. Let's ban guns. Let's ban 30-round magazines and this and that. Well, you know, that's not the case. You know, only about 3 to 4% of these shootings happen with these long guns, with these rifles. AR.
Do we know what type of gun used here?
I heard it was a long gun. I don't know what type of long gun it is. You know, but long guns only account for about 3 to 4% of these mass shootings. You know, handguns are used in way more deadly instances. You know, cause way more damage than these long guns. But of course, they go after the ARs, the AR-15s, 30-round magazines. You know, why try to restrict my rights and the citizens' rights because of the actions of some idiot?
And Constable, your thoughts about when it comes to the issue of guns. Are we going in the wrong direction with that? Should we be focusing on the children who may be neglected in the schools that turn this way?
A little both. You know, a lot of these young kids now, they don't have the love. They don't feel the love. I mean, parents are giving up. They're just giving up on their kids, and they're walking away. You know, we're seeing it happening all the time, and they calling the police all the time saying, I can't handle this boy. He's out of control. He's out of control. They don't know what to do. You know, there's not enough help in the community to help the parents aid some of the problems. Some of them are afraid to spank their kids because they think they're going to go to jail. I tell them, give them a good spanking. While I'm here. Yeah, while I'm here, give them a spanking. Have you ever spanked this child? You know, if you just spare the rod, you spoil the child. That's what's happening now. These kids got any and everything. When I was coming out, the other day, I took my son to the Wallerman field for the first time. He said, Daddy, this is what it's about. You know, because he's spoiled. You know, these kids are spoiled. And I told him, hey, you got to learn to work, you know. And the problem, they get things so easy, and it's easy for parents to do that because they work so hard and they think, if I keep doing this, I'll make them happy. No, you're running the child. I worked at the prison. Most of the ones that come there is because they were spoiled. These kids are spoiled. I mean, who gets $300 tennis shoes? I mean, come on. Well, who does that? I mean, we are out of control. As parents, we're out of control. And that child is watching videos, playing these bad video games. All this stuff is intaking in his mind, is controlling his mind. We on a different dispensation right now.
All right, and Kobe, let's bring you in when it comes to parenting. Just recently in Galveston, I think it was, where the court case was held, the civil case involving the shooter in that area that shot up the school. The parents said, we had no idea that he was doing all of this, preparing to shoot the school, shoot up the school here in Texas. They said, we just didn't know. Do you think that's possible, not to know your child in that way?
Doesn't matter. You're responsible. You're the parent. I mean, if they're under the age of 18, you're responsible legally for that child.
And so are you saying they should know?
Yeah, they
or
better.
They have to know?
Yeah, both. I mean, going back to the gun question, right? I mean, look, and we've had this conversation before, there's 400 million guns in this country. Do the math. There's no way you're going to get rid of them all. They don't break, they don't expire, they don't wear out. There's guns out there that are over 100 years old and they still operate as they say they did 100 years ago. So to sit here and try to think that we're going to get rid of all these guns, that's not realistic. So we have to start looking at what's the root cause, and it's these kids who have these mental issues, obviously, who have no empathy and want to do serious damage to everybody around them because they feel that they're entitled. The only way this is really going to stop is if we look at the core reason, and these kids have mental issues. Bottom line.
And just recently in Louisiana, there was a case where a 10-year-old shot and killed the mayor pro tem there and his daughter over video games, using a credit card for video games. And police officers said in talking to him, he had no remorse whatsoever. Yeah. So that's a kid without feelings and possibly mental problems. We want to thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor.